What's up, Silver and Black Nation? The Bat Fry, Kenny Fry here. Letting you know what's coming up on the Silver and Black Lair, LA Kings edition. Trying something a little bit different here. We'll be talking Kings from this past week. We'll also look ahead to the playoffs and talk lineups. So we have a couple guys coming back from injury. So we'll talk about that and a good bit more. I'll be back in about 45 seconds. What's up, Silver and Black Nation? Welcome to the Silver and Black Lair. I'm your host, the Bat Fry, Kenny Fry. This is the LA Kings edition. Like I said on the clip before, trying something a little bit different. I figured I'm going to try to split up the Raiders. You normally, if you've ever seen the show before, the Silver and Black Lair, I'll talk Las Vegas Raiders and LA Kings. I'm going to try splitting up now, make them their own shows, and see how that goes. Because, some people that watch the show don't want to hear the hockey part. Some people that watch the show don't want to hear the football part. Some people just come for the entertainment. So I got a couple comments here before I get it rolling. Adam Glenn, what's up, Adam? How you doing, buddy? You can check Adam out on Saturdays with us on the Atomic Drop podcast, talking WWE wrestling. Myself, Adam, the professor of old school professional wrestling, Eddie Prather, and of course the showstopper himself, Cowboy Dave. I got another comment from Out of the Box Sports. It says, "We are live. It's time, Silver and Black, Kings hockey. Tune in and comment your thoughts." Speaking of that, we see that comment comes from X or Twitter, whatever you want to call it. And now we can start commenting from Twitter on live streams. So that's awesome. So a lot of our live viewers come from X, Twitter, whatever you want to call it. So be sure if you're watching right now, throw out a comment, question, whatever you want to talk about. Doesn't matter, hockey, football, baseball, whatever. You want to throw shade at my team, that's cool. I'm fine with that. I'm a big boy. I can handle it. Just let me know that you're out there and you're alive. I got another comment from Adam the Answer. When is the Raiders show on? Tomorrow morning, 10 a.m. 10 a.m. I'll be doing that tomorrow, 10 a.m. Eastern. And like I said, I'm going to see how it's going to go. Tomorrow we'll be talking draft. And I have a couple different mock drafts I'm going to go through of possibilities that the Raiders, could different directions the Raiders could be going. It's kind of where they're at 13. It's kind of hard with the needs that they have to predict which way they're going to go with it. And so it's actually, a lot of fun. It's not knowing or, not having a 100% line to where they're going to go in the draft. I think it's fantastic. I think that's great. It keeps everybody guessing, keeps it on edge, and keeps it interesting. So, I'll be talking Raiders tomorrow morning, 10 a.m. So, be sure to check that out. And like I said, throw your comments out. Very much appreciated. So we're going to go ahead and move on with the show here. One other thing, like I mentioned, if you guys, I do a baseball show on Wednesday mornings, 10 a.m. called The Bat Cave, where I talk New York Mets baseball. We're in the old Mets cap here still. But I got a new microphone. Trying something different. I'm going to see how that sounds. So yesterday I tried it. Voice was kind of loud, a little bit not staticky, but almost muffled at the end of every word that I said. So I'm still making adjustments, still kind of tinkering with it. So if it sounds good, bad, or if you have any, feedback on it, just, shoot me a message. Say, let me know what you think. How do I sound? Can you actually hear me? I assume you can, because I am getting comments. All that's much appreciated. All right. So looking at the Kings this past week, we had two games going on. This past Saturday, against the Mighty Ducks, or the Ducks. They're not the Mighty Ducks anymore. The Ducks, a little bit of a revenge game there. If you don't remember, the week before, the Kings could have clinched against the Ducks in Anaheim, and they went out there and they smacked our asses. So back home, we already have our playoff spot clinched. So it's time for a little bit of revenge against those Ducks. And so we come out with the win, 3-1 win. Not a great game, not an impressive win by the Kings in any stretch of the imagination, but still a win. Keeps us in the race for at least that 3 spot in the Pacific Division. So we get the automatic bid and instead of a wild card bid. So first period, nothing, no scoring there. Second period, Pierre-Luc Dubois, who was actually centering the first line for the first time since he's been a King this season. Andrei Kopitar is out with a nagging injury, a couple nagging injuries. At least that's what the report was out there. So Dubois got some time on the first line, with Kempe, Byfield, stuff like that. He scored a power play goal, his 16th goal of the season, assisted by Victor Arvidsson and Adrian Kempe. Also in the second period, Matt Roy scores his 5th, assisted by Blake Lizotte and Akil Thomas. That made it 2-0 LA after 2. And third period, the Ducks quack back. Zegras scored his 6th goal of the season. The Kings put it away with a Kevin Fiala goal, his 29th of the season, assisted by Trevor Lewis and Drew Doughty. So in between the pipes, we had David Rittich. Stopped 28 out of 29 shots. Looking at stats overall, team stats, shots-wise, went in Anaheim's favor. They outshot us 29-28. They also had more hits, 20-18. Faceoffs went to LA, 28-13. The Kings were 1 for 4 in the power play, and we were a perfect 2 for 2 on the penalty kill. And block shots also went to Anaheim, 12-2. That's a troubling number, a troubling stat to me. That's one of the things I've talked about many times on the show. The block shots, the Kings, a lot of the games the Kings win, or that they're really in. It's a close game, it's a good game, it's a tight game. They're usually winning or pretty close in the block shot category, and 2 block shots is not going to get it done. So kudos to David Rittich. The few block shots, 2 block shots out of 28 on net shots. That tells me that there's a lot of open lanes. There was a lot of open lanes, for the Ducks to shoot on David Rittich, and that's tough. That's tough for a goalie. I mean, a clear line of sight is good for a goalie, but still, I mean, you get that lane. It's you want guys in front blocking shots, sticks on pucks, and just disrupting that shot. So that's troubling for me. I want to see that number up, at least fairly close to being even with the opposing team. But a lot of times, a lot of the wins, you go back and look, the Kings do lead the block shot category. So that's one of my biggest stats that I really look at every time that they lose. Where were they in the block shots? What was their defense doing? Because the Kings do have one of the better defenses in all the leagues. Not leagues. There's only one league. So nice win though, Kings. They continuing. That was an 8-game home win streak. They're extending that to 8 games. And then on Monday, they played the Minnesota Wild. This was an ESPN game, and I'll talk about that in a second, why that matters. But they end up losing against the Wild 3-1. The Wild absolutely outplayed them. The Kings looked uninspired, lethargic, just going through the motions, just waiting for the season to be over so they can get the playoffs. I don't know. You want to go into the playoffs with a little bit of momentum, and it just wasn't happening. They just didn't look good at all. So first period, Boldy scored for Minnesota, his 29th of the season, power play goal. Second period, Hartman got his 21st goal of the season. That made it 2-0 after 2. And then in the third period, Kaprizov scores his 45th of the season. And, the Wild were just cruising. It looked like, honestly, I thought they were going to get the shutout. But Blake Lizotte takes care of that with his 7th goal of the season, assisted by Kevin Fiala and goalie Cam Talbot. Cam Talbot was in between the pipes, stopped 25 out of 28 shots on goal. Overall, shots went in Minnesota's favor, 28-24. Hits, LA, 18-11. Face-offs, Minnesota, 28-22. Power play, Kings were 0 for 4. And penalty kill, the Kings were 2 for 3. Block shots went to Minnesota, 16-14. So a little bit closer. But again, you look back at the games that the Kings win, usually they're leading that block shot category. And it's a big stat, in my opinion. It's a really big stat. And so back to the ESPN part of this. Trying to listen to that broadcast or watch it is just like, it's brutal. It is absolutely brutal. And I can't remember who does the play-by-play or whatever, the color commentating on these games. But the way they're talking about the Minnesota Wild, if I was a Minnesota Wild fan watching this game, and the way they're talking about the Wild, comparing them to teams like the Sharks and the Ducks and stuff like that, that's just complete horseshit nonsense. Absolutely crap. The Wild were a playoff contender just 2-3 weeks ago. It's not like this is some scrub-ass team. They still had 80 plus points. They finished, I think, probably like maybe 6 points short of a wild card. This is a good team. It's not a bad team at all. It's a tough team. It's an aggressive team. It's gritty, and they do have some decent players. Like Kaprizov there, 45 goals. I mean, that's nothing to sneeze at. So I don't understand where ESPN comes off. Basically, the Kings are losing to these non-playoff teams, and just the way that they presented the Wild to the public. If you're just a casual hockey fan, you turn this on and you listen to these commentators talk about the Minnesota Wild. You're like, oh man, this team's crap, and they're beating the Kings, 3-0. No, the Wild's a pretty good team. They're a pretty good team. Just missing the playoffs. Like I said, just a couple of weeks ago, they were actually, I think, a point or two out of the final wild card spot. So it's tough. Whenever ESPN has a hockey game on it, it's tough to watch. I'd rather listen to the team's hockey radio or their own TV broadcast. But usually when it's on ESPN, they don't have that. It's ESPN or nothing. So it's going to be rough in the playoffs watching a bunch of these games on ESPN, because I think ESPN has it. ESPN, ABC. I don't know if TNT or TBS as well. I'd assume they would, because they carry hockey throughout the whole season as well. I got a couple comments here. CFF out of the box sports says, "What's up from your boys at College Football Frenzy?" Oh, the Frenzy. Go Kings, go. I love the College Football Frenzy. Paul Spencer, Bill Furman, they do that throughout the year during college football season, so expect to see that again later this year. Those guys do a great job breaking down college football. Just not the local teams in Pennsylvania, but teams throughout and throughout the whole country, talking top 25 and beyond. Good stuff there from the College Football Frenzy guys. And our boy Paul Spencer, speak of the devil, they shall appear. So what's up, Kenny? Go Kings, go. I still can't believe my Penguins back-to-back missed playoffs. Mind-blowing. So the thing with that is they're still a good team, the Penguins, but I don't know how many people actually thought the Penguins were going to make the playoffs this year. I didn't think the Penguins were going to make the playoffs this year. They're almost like they're not in a complete rebuild. They're kind of like in a transitioning phase. Like you seen last night, I believe it was last night, one of their players, Jeff Carter, former LA King, won 2 cups with the Kings, retired. So it's kind of like you're seeing like transitioning, bring up some more younger players. Some of the older guard starting to move on or starting to leave. And so you're going to see some changes, I believe, next season. And I wouldn't be surprised if the Penguins don't take the next step and do make the playoffs next year. Maybe not even just a wild card. Maybe they'll have a chance at one of those top 3 metropolitan. Are they in the Metro or are they in the Atlantic? I'm not sure now. I feel like they're in the Metro, but top 3 spots in their division. So I wouldn't be surprised at all if they're pushing for the number 2 or number 3 spot next year. The Flyers were the surprising one to me, because I thought the Flyers had it pretty much cinched up. They were going to be a playoff team, but they kind of just fell apart there. The last week or two of the season. Whether that's just pressure and experience, because again, beginning of the season, nobody would have thought the Flyers were going to be in contention for a playoff spot. But you figure a month or a month and a half, 2 months into the season, it's like, you know what, this is a possibility. The Flyers are a tough team, a good team. And so it wasn't too surprising, like near the end of the season, that they were in contention. They were in serious contention, that were to the point where almost you thought they're a shoo-in. But that, like I said, that last week or two, kind of surprising. They fell out of it. The Detroit Red Wings, there's another team that were perennial playoffs, just like the Penguins. And now they've missed a couple years in a row. But they were right in it as well. They missed it by a point or two, just like the Flyers, Penguins. And so then I don't think many people expected them to be there. I know they spanked the Kings a couple times this past season. So Detroit, watch out for them. And one of the greatest, hockey traditions that there is in Detroit when they throw that octopus on the ice. I know it's not allowed. You're not allowed to bring the octopus into the stadium. Somehow they make it in. I don't know how they make it in. I just can't. I thought about this at work the other night when I was on break, and I saw the clip of the octopus come out on the ice. The Red Wings were down. I think they were down a couple of goals, to be honest with you. And then the octopus comes on the ice. It's almost like a rally. They called it the rally octopus, and I thought that was hilarious. But then I started thinking to myself, they're not allowed to bring him into the stadium. How are they getting this octopus into the stadium? And I'm like, man, are they shoving that slimy ass octopus down their pants? I'm like, I really hope not. I couldn't imagine walking up to the stadium with the slimy, goopy, squishy octopus in the back of my pants. Or, I mean, if you're going to crotch it, that's even worse. I don't know, man. I just trying to think of different ways that you can sneak an octopus in without being too obvious. And I guess if you stuck it down the back of your pants, it might look like you have a load. And what if it, leaks a little bit, like, because they look slimy, they look wet. So if you end up with a big wet spot on the ass of your pants, like, what do you got going on back there? It's all lumpy and stuff. So who knows? But that's one thing that's, 3 o'clock in the morning, thinking about multiple things, and octopus in people's pants are one of them. So that's something that I was contemplating, like, how are they doing that? How are they getting in there? How are they getting past security with that octopus? And I think that should be legal. I think they should be allowed to bring the octopus in and throw it on the ice. And because it's a great tradition. They've been, as long as I can remember watching hockey, from being a young teenager or maybe even a preteen, I don't know. I remember the octopus being thrown on the ice in Detroit, and it was always so cool, especially after a big goal or something like that. You'd see a couple octopus come out there and just splat on the ice, and they come out there with a shovel. And they got to scrape some of the ice up because it's all slimy and stuff. So it's a neat tradition, and it's something that should be allowed to a certain extent. You don't want 30,000 people out there, or no, not 30, but 18,000 people out there throwing 18,000 octopus, octopi everywhere. That'd be terrible. Peter would be like, they'll be shutting the Red Wings down. But, one or two, they ain't going to hurt anybody. It's neat. Eileen checking in. What's up, Eileen? She says, hello, Mr. Bat Fry. Hello, Eileen. And Paul says that they're in the Metropolitan, the Pittsburgh Penguins are in the Metropolitan. That's what I thought, but I second-guessed myself because the Metropolitan are like the bigger cities, and I'm like, well, Pittsburgh's Western PA, and they're not really a huge city, but I was thinking Metropolitan, but I wasn't 100% on it. All right, so tonight the Kings play the Chicago Blackhawks to finish up the regular season. Should be a fairly easy game, but who knows? Who knows what they do? I assume that they'll sit Cam Talbot, let him rest the last regular season game and go into the playoffs as our number one goalie. I assume David Rittich will play. Other guys, I assume all the starters are going to play. I don't see them really sitting anybody. I mean, you can't do a whole lot with a hockey with your hockey roster or anything. It's not like you have 10 people on the bench. I think you might have like one or two healthy scratches that you can possibly plug in and pull somebody out as a healthy scratch. And like I know Arthur Kaliev. If you're a Kings fan, Arthur Kaliev is just he sits a lot, which is unfortunate because he is a talent. But from everything you hear from analysts or Kings podcasts that I listen to, he just doesn't do everything right. He is an offensive talent, but there's so much more to the game that he's not doing, and that's why he's getting himself healthy scratched. You got to do everything. You got to do little things if you want more playing time, and he's just not doing those little things. I thought after they fired Todd McClellan and brought in Jim Hiller, I thought 100% that Arthur Kaliev was going to be reinserted into the lineup and get a lot more playing time, but it just hasn't happened. So that tells me that he's not doing something. He's not getting it done, and he's not doing what the coaching staff is asking of him. And so that's why his playing time has been so limited. So I wouldn't be too surprised to see him actually tonight and maybe resting somebody that might be dinged up a little bit. And so we'll see what happens tonight. We'll see what the lineups are, what the line assignments are and stuff. And that's another thing with Jim Hiller. The line assignments are crazy. You had Pierre-Luc Dubois as the first line center a couple nights ago with Kopitar out. He was back to the fourth line against the Wild. Centering the fourth line, which all season he's been either second or third, mostly the third line center. But now they drop him all the way to the fourth line with Laferriere and Turcotte. As Turcotte's coming back off an injury, so he'll probably play tonight, I assume. And then moving up Blake Lizotte, who was your fourth line center, up to third line center with Trevor Lewis and who was with Lizotte? I have it written down. I have it written down, taking notes. Kevin Fiala, Lizotte, and Trevor Lewis. So that was your third line. And it's just, constantly jumbling, and which I like. It keeps the other team guessing, and keeps the lines fresh. It's not, being interchangeable is a huge part of any sport. Knowing multiple spots, multiple responsibilities as well. So I think that's big. I think that's some guys can handle it, some guys can't handle it. So Pierre-Luc Dubois, with the way his season went this year, I don't know if he can handle it. So it's going to be interesting to see what the Kings do with him. They gave him that huge contract. They traded for him. You'll give up a lot of good players, and rubbed a lot of Kings fans the wrong way with this move. But you bring him in, and you give him this huge contract right away, and he has nowhere near lived up to it. So much so that he's. I don't know if he's the highest paid player, but he's one of the top 3 or 4 paid players on the Kings team, and they move him all the way down to the fourth line. That tells you about how good it's going for that lad. So maybe who knows? Maybe in the playoffs things turn, but the Kings do have an opportunity before, I think, a deadline's in July. If they release him, they save a lot of money off that contract. They won't owe him the whole thing. So we'll see what they do there. Or do they say, hey, it's going to get better from here. Let's see what happens next season. And if they do that, well, then they're in for it for the whole contract. So I don't see anybody trading for him and taking that whole contract on. I think it was 8 years, like $88 million or something or rather, which, when you hear professional sports, you hear 8 years, your mind probably goes right away to, $200 million or $180 million. Not in hockey. You don't see those types of contracts in hockey. Although viewership attendance at games was up, quite a bit. I don't know the exact number. I was going to write it down, but I didn't. I want to say it was 22.5% or something like that. And, there's still, a few games to go yet. So it's a huge number. It's a really big number, which is great for the sport of hockey. Trying to get a little bit more mainstream. If you haven't watched playoff hockey, put on your big boy pants and buckle your seatbelt. Playoff hockey is a lot of fun. I got a couple more comments here before I hit the stars of the week. Chris, all right, CPNY Sports. Chris talking Mets and Knicks. It says, let's go Rangers. Salute, Kenny. Salute, Chris. Rangers, I believe they'll probably win the President's Trophy. I think. I don't know if they clinched it yet, but they're well on their way. Very good team. Do you expect them to come out of the East? I kind of do, but who knows? With again, playoff hockey. I know last year I picked Toronto to come out of the East. I thought the Bruins would stumble. I didn't think the Bruins would stumble last year in the first round against the Florida Panthers. Nobody saw the Florida Panthers coming. The Tampa Bay Lightning are always dangerous. The Hurricanes. I think the Rangers will come out of the East. They look like a really good team, solid team, good goaltending. Jonathan Quick, the Kings fans, and we all know Jonathan Quick. He's their number 2, I believe. Shesterkin is their 1 still, which is I love that name, Igor Shesterkin. It just reminds me of Wayne's World every time I say it. I don't know why, but it does. So go Rangers. I have a couple of friends that are Rangers fans, so I always kind of like the Rangers. And you see on my screen here, you have Wayne Gretzky on the screen. He ended up being a Ranger with Mark Messier and stuff there at the end, near the end of his career, before he went to St. Louis for a little bit. Go Rangers. All right, we got a comment from Paul Spencer. He says, will Kings pull off or go harder Screen watching since Knights play 30 minutes before based on score of that game. I think they'll play hard throughout the whole game. I just don't see them really pulling off because there's not a whole lot you can do. Like I said, like there's nobody on your bench really to it's like, all right, we're going to rest these 4 or 5 guys. I would expect shorter minutes maybe, especially even if they get a decent lead. If for some reason the Kings come out and they jump out in the first period 3-0 on the Blackhawks, going to the second period, I wouldn't expect to see Drew Doughty out there as normal minutes. Drew Doughty leads the team in minutes on time on ice, and I don't know if he leads the league on time on ice or not, but he's every year he's up there, 25 plus minutes on ice. So I would expect him to be called in a little bit more, and leaving so some of the younger guys with less miles on their skates to be left out there. Kopitar, I'd expect him to come in. Kempe, who's had who was injured this season, maybe he's brought in a little bit more often, a little bit less ice time. Who else? Victor Arvidsson. Again, so the guys that were injured a good bit this season. Victor Arvidsson only played, I think, 19 games this season. So I expect him to get less ice time in the last game just to make sure he's ready. But you still want to keep them sharp, so you still get them out there. But you don't have those extra guys on your bench to just sit the other guys and put those guys in. It's just which would be beneficial, but then you have those guys sitting there for a game or whatever, waiting to get in, and they go in cold, and it's not copacetic. That's a fun word, copacetic. But it's going to be interesting. The Kings are 1 point behind the Vegas Golden Knights, and it's almost kind of like, we'll talk about this in a minute. Who do you want to play? Do you want to play Edmonton, who's had our numbers the last 2 years in the first round of playoffs, or do you want to play the Stars, who beat the snot out of us every game we played them this year? And it's not even close. The Stars, just housed us every time we played them. So looking at the 3 stars of the week, if this is your first time checking out the show, what I do, if you watch any hockey game, at the end of the game, they have the 3 stars of the game. Well, I do the 3 stars of the week because it's a weekly show. So I take, my thoughts, and plus stats throughout that week, and I make my 3 stars of the week. So my number 3 stars, Kevin Fiala. He had 1 goal, 1 assist. He was a +1 rating. Fiala's been absolutely fantastic, for more than half the season. He's been really good. The biggest thing with Fiala, especially early in the season, a lot of stupid turnovers, a lot of neutral zone turnovers or defensive zone, cross ice passes in our defensive zone. It's it's a huge no-nos. You turn that puck over and it'd lead to a goal, or you just take a really stupid penalty. And then, it's crazy frustrating to watch. A guy so talented just taking a stupid ass penalty, like a hook or a trip. It's like when he didn't need to. That's extremely frustrating. But with that being said, over the last half plus of the season, he's really, really minimized that. He's been playing fantastic, absolutely fantastic. So Kevin Fiala, he's my number 3 star of the week. Number 2 star of the week, David Rittich, who was the goalie against the Ducks. He stopped 28 out of 29 shots with a save percentage of .966. He's been outstanding as our backup goalie. 3 shutouts this year. And I would expect him, if we're playing, it's either going to be the Oilers or the Stars, I'd expect to see Rittich in at least one of those games. I think that's a mistake the Kings made last season in the playoffs against the Oilers, keeping Korpisalo in, and he just didn't have it. The Oilers were owning him. Instead, throwing maybe Phoenix Copley back in there, who had a terrific season for the Kings last year after our early season goaltending debacle last season with Cal Peterson and Jonathan Quick. If we had the Jonathan Quick that is in New York right now, if we had him last season, I don't know, the Kings might have went on a run because we had a really good team, and with the lack of goaltending, we still took the Oilers to 6 games. If we had a premium goaltender like Jonathan Quick is this season, I think the Kings might have taken it off the Oilers last season. But if and buts are candy and nuts, I don't know the rest of that rhyme. And my number 1 star of the week, Blake Lizotte. He had a goal and assist, 2 points, but a +2 rating. I can't say enough about Blake Lizotte. He's always the smallest guy on the ice, but the dude is just like the Energizer Bunny. It's go, go, go. He's like that fly in your ointment kind of thing. A gnat, you're swatting at constantly, but he's still there. He's still there, getting pucks, lifting sticks, back check, forecheck, doesn't matter. He'll do dirty stuff. He's always in the mix. You expect the bigger guys to be, pushing around in front of the net. You have little Blake Lizotte doing it, and he's the hell of a player. Stat wise, nothing pops off, of the stat sheet. Like, oh my God, look at Blake Lizotte. He's an all-star. He's a great player. But just watching Blake Lizotte is just a lot of fun. It's a lot of fun to watch him, and I was kind of excited to see him get moved up to the third line, to see get him more ice time, see what he can do. So Blake Lizotte was my number one star of the week. So moving on from that, we're gonna go to our standings. Sip of iced tea for the working man here. You got my octopus mug there from that movie Finding Dory. I can't remember the name of that octopus. It's something like an angry dad type name. I don't know, like a Gerald or something, or a Ralph. I mean, he looks like a Ralph to me. Anyway, so looking at the standings in the Pacific Division, the Vancouver Canucks clinched the 1 seed. In the Pacific, 50 wins, 22 losses for 9 overtime losses for 109 points. Edmonton is your number 2 seed. 49 wins, 25 losses, 6 overtime losses, and 104 points. Vegas Golden Knights are sitting in that 3 spot right now. 45 wins, 28 losses, 8 overtime losses, 98 points. And they have 34 regulation wins, which is a big thing for tiebreakers. In case the Golden Knights lose and the Kings tie, that could come to as a factor for a tiebreaker. I'm not sure. I think that for some reason I feel like they might have split the season series, but I'm not 100% sure. The Kings are sitting in the last wild card spot right now. 43 wins, 27 losses, 11 overtime losses, 97 points. And their Kings are sitting there with 37 regulation wins. Those 11 overtime loss points are just they're killers. I think a good bit of them were in shootouts as well. But it's again the next season, moving forward to the next season, we really got to work on our overtime special team. I don't know what the hell you call it when they go out there 3v3. They don't do that in the playoffs. The playoffs, it goes to overtime. It's your straight up like it's an extra period. It's 5v5, period 4. Like it's still a part of the game. But when they go 3v3, I don't know what it is. They fall apart. They fall apart. And if they do make it out of the 3v3 after that, I think it's 5-minute period. The shootout's even worse. So a lot of work needs to be done there. Looking at overall the West, your top 8 teams, Dallas Stars are the number 1 seed right now. I don't know. Yeah, I don't think Winnipeg can catch them. So Dallas should be your overall number 1. Vancouver Canucks can still catch them, but I don't know what the tiebreakers are for that. It doesn't really matter. Well, I guess it does matter for the Kings. Okay, so I do remember now. I'm facetious with this. The Vancouver Canucks are your number 2 team. The number 2 out of the 1s, which is confusing because it's the way the hockey does the playoffs, is your 1s from the Central Division and the Pacific Division. The 1s will play the wild card teams, so you have your number 1 and your number 2 The Vancouver Canucks cannot catch the Dallas Stars, so they're your number 2 and they'll be playing the Nashville Predators, who are your first wild card team. So that playoff matchup is already set. So that I remember hearing that last night now. So sitting in second is Vancouver, 50, 22-9, 109 points. Winnipeg sitting in the 3 spot overall, 51 wins, 24 losses, 6 overtime losses, 108 points. They had a great season, Winnipeg Jets. Colorado, they're sitting there at the number 4 spot, 49 wins, 25 losses, 7 overtime losses, 105 points. Edmonton, 49, 25, 6, 104 points. Nashville, your number 1 wild card team, 47 wins, 30 losses, 5 overtime losses, 99 points. And the Vegas Golden Knights, who could pass the Predators out because the Predators are done playing. But it doesn't. That position doesn't really matter. They don't reseed as it goes on. The Vegas Golden Knights, overall 7, 45, 28, 8, 98 points. And the Kings are your 8th team right now, 43, 27, 11, 97 points. So if the playoffs were to start today, which pretty soon they will be, I can finally stop saying that. But if they were to start today, it would be Dallas and LA. It would be Vancouver and Nashville, which is already set. Vancouver, Nashville is already set. And then it would be Edmonton, Vancouver, or Edmonton, Vegas Golden Knights. Out of your Pacific Division, the 2-3 teams play each other. And out of the Central Division, the 2-3 teams, Winnipeg and Colorado. And those that matchup is already set as well. So you have two matchups already set, Vancouver, Nashville. That's your number one wild card and your number one from the Pacific. And also the Winnipeg Jets, the number 2 team from the Central against the number 3 team from the Central, Colorado Avalanche. And I like the Avalanche in that. I'll talk next week about my predictions. But I'd take the Avalanche in that, and I'd take Vancouver. I think I'll take Vancouver against Nashville. If it was Nashville from about a month ago, Nashville was super hot, I would have taken Nashville. But Vancouver's playing pretty good hockey right now. So I'm going to take Vancouver in that one. And as soon as we figure out the rest of the matchups, I'll go ahead and throw those predictions out. A couple more comments here. Out of the Box Sports from Facebook says, live viewers, let us know where you're checking in from. Twitter, Facebook, YouTube. Smash that follow and subscribe button on all social media platforms. Reminder, Twitter viewers, you can now comment live by double-clicking the video to comment. There we go. I tried doing it yesterday. I could not do it, and it was incredibly frustrating. So double-click the video to comment. There we go. Good stuff. All right. So moving on from that, I mentioned earlier Jeff Carter retires. Played for the Flyers. I think he played. I don't remember the exact number. There's 500-plus games with the Flyers. Played like 30 games with the Columbus Blue Jackets. He spent most of his time with the LA Kings, 600-plus games, won the 2 Stanley Cups there. And then he spent 300 and some games with the Pittsburgh Penguins. So he's moving on. He's retiring. I remember playing video games, having Jeff Carter on the one line. And so it's congratulations to him on his retirement, a terrific career. And he was a pretty big, he was a huge part of the Kings winning those 2 Stanley Cups back in 12 and 14. So congratulations to Jeff Carter, and enjoy retirement, I guess. All right, so moving on there, we're going to go to stats. A lot of stuff that could happen tonight yet. There's like a milestone type stuff or however you want to say it, but I'll talk about that in a second. Adrian Kempe sitting up top right now, actually tied with Kevin Fiala for the points lead on the team. 27 goals, 46 assists, 73 points, a plus 13 plus minus rating. Adrian Kempe leads the team in assists. If you don't know about hockey, the plus minus rating is if you're on the ice and your team scores a goal, you get a plus 1. If you're on the ice and your team gives up a goal, that's a -1. So that's where you get your plus minus from. Plus good, minus bad. Kevin Fiala, 29 goals, 44 assists, 73 points. Like I said, he's tied with Kempe for the team lead in points. He's at a +2. He also he leads the team in 11 power play goals, which is huge. Fiala's electric. Anze Kopitar, 26 goals, 44 assists, 70 points, a +11 rating. 18 seasons in the league, and dude just keeps on trucking. Hopefully he doesn't retire anytime soon. Trevor Moore, 30 goals, 25 assists, 55 points, +10. He leads the team in goals. Quentin Byfield, 19 goals, 34 assists, 53 points, a +19 rating. Quentin Byfield struggling right now. He's doing all the things that you ask him to do. He's fighting in front of the net. He's a big dude. That's where his money's made right now, in front of the net. And he's not getting the goals. He's not getting the goals. He's not getting the assists now. I don't think he has a point in the last 8 games, maybe. I don't think he has a goal in the last 19 games. So I'd like to see him get that goal tonight. Get to 20, nice round number, and maybe carry some of that momentum into the playoffs, because we're going to need him. He's a huge part of our offense. Drew Doughty, 15 goals, 35 assists, 50 points, +14. There's another guy. I think this is his 16th season in the league. just amazing. Leads the team every year in time on ice, up near the top of the league every year in time on ice. Just amazing. This year's 25 minutes and 49 seconds is average for time on ice. Awesome. Philip Denault, 17 goals, 27 assists, 44 points, plus 11. He was dinged up a week or two ago. He's very important to our offense. Our number 2 line, the Denault, Trevor Moore, and Denault, Trevor Moore. Who's on that line? Denault, Trevor Moore. I don't remember who it was. I lost it now. Arvidsson. That's who it was. Arvidsson. So that line's been awesome. That line has been very, very good since Arvidsson came back from injury. And like I said, Denault was out for a little bit, not too long. But when they're together, they are one. That's probably been our most consistent line this last month or so. And the Denault, Moore, Arvidsson line. So that's hopefully they click in the playoffs. Pierre-Luc Dubois, 16 goals, 24 assists, 40 points, a -9 rating. That's terrible, but seeing where he was a couple months ago at a -19, -9's much better, but still crap. For the amount of money that you're playing the guy and what you gave up to get him here, not good at all. Matt Roy, 5 goals, 20 assists, 25 points, a +20 rating. Great job defense this year. Rookie Alex Laferriere, 12 goals, 11 assists, 23 points, a -13. He's on the line with Pierre-Luc Dubois, so he's going to have a huge minus rating. He's had a terrific season. He really has. Rookie kind of came out of nowhere. Nobody expected him to make the team. He makes the team. I think he started on the second or third line beginning of the season, and just has been consistent. He's been consistent. Again, stats don't pop off the sheet on you, but he's done a really, really good job as a rookie. Really happy with his play. Jordan Spence, 2 goals, 21 assists, 23 points, +6 rating. Another young guy who's played outstanding this year. Vladislav Gavrikov, 6 goals, 17 assists, 23 points, a +8. Mikey Anderson had another terrific season. 2 goals, 16 assists, 18 points, +21 rating. He leads the team in plus-minus ratings. Trevor Lewis, another dinosaur-type guy. He was around when the Kings won their 2 cups. 8 goals, 8 assists, 16 points, +8 rating. Blake Lizotte, 7 goals, 8 assists, 15 points, +12. Victor Arvidsson, 4 goals, 8 points. 4 goals, 8 assists, 12 points, +3. And Andreas Englund, 1 goal, 9 assists, 10 points, -1. Paul Spencer said, who would you take for goal scorer tonight, Fiala or Kempe? I would take Fiala because they're going to want to get him the puck to get 30 goals. He's sitting, and that's something I was gonna bring up. You have some guys that are close to. They're not milestone numbers. They're next step type numbers. It's better to have 30 than 29. It's nice round number. He's 1 goal away from 29 or from 30. He's at 29, and so I would expect him. If I had to put money on it, I would say Fiala, or maybe even Byfield to get him to 20, to get him more involved into the offense, which they've been trying. It just hasn't been working. But against the Blackhawks, that's a team that gives up a lot of goals and just not very good. But if I had to put money on it, if they say, here's $20, your last $20, who are you putting it on? I would definitely go Kevin Fiala. And since Kempe came off the injured list, he's played really, really well. A lot more assists than goals, but he's been playing super physical. And I'll tell you what, physical Kempe is awesome. He's in people's faces. He's talking shit. I like physical. I like aggressive Kempe much better than I shouldn't say much better. Better than just regular old goal scoring Kempe. This is goal scoring, point scoring, aggressive Kempe. I like this Kempe. Because he's a big dude. He does play a physical style of hockey. When you watch him, he does bang a lot. He does a lot of hits and a lot of checks and stuff like that. He mixes it up a good bit, but it just seems like he's kind of turned it up a notch. So I like aggressive Kempe. All right, so looking at our goalies for this season, Cam Talbot, 26, 19, and 6, at 2.47 goals against, with a save percentage at .915. He has 3 shutouts. David Rittich, 13, 6, and 3. Like I said, he's been fantastic. 2.16 goals against, a .921 save percentage, and 3 shutouts as well. Fantasy Football Girl, what's going on? Thank you for checking the show out. And thank you for commenting. You're just tuning in. I said earlier that I'm splitting the Silver and Black Lair. I'm going to do one day Kings, one day Raiders. So if you're here for the Raiders portion of it, tune in tomorrow, 10 a.m. So yeah, I'm going to try that out, split the shows, and see how it goes. And yeah, just kind of tinker with it. Try to get more viewers and see what I can get out of it. All right, so the other thing I wanted to touch on, we have some guys coming off injury. Like I said, Alex Turcotte, he should be in the lineup tonight for tonight's game against the Blackhawks. And from everything I've seen online, he will be on the 4th line with Pierre-Luc Dubois and Alex Laferriere. But we also have Carl Gunderson. He's been, I don't know if he's been cleared or how you want to say it. But he's playing right now. He's playing in Ontario. He played, I think it was 2 nights ago. I don't think it was last night. I think it was 2 nights ago. He played, scored a goal. And so he's been out for a while. He only played 50 games this season with the Kings. So it's kind of like waiting. When's he coming back? Are they just going to bring him back for, in time for the playoffs? Just to kind of skip the last game of the season. I mean, he is getting playing time, so he doesn't really need to ramp up then. And so I'd expect Gunderson to come back for the playoffs, but that leads, questions. Who do you have to drop? You have to drop somebody. I'm not sure about this, but I don't think that your playoff rosters expand. I do know that another weird thing about hockey is when you have like an injured player, you put them on long-term injured reserve. I think it's long-term injured reserve. When you bring them back, you have to make sure you have enough cap space to bring them back, almost like you're bringing in a free agent, even though they're already on your roster. Like, it doesn't make sense to me. I never understood it. I don't understand it at all. Not saying that I tried to understand it because, numbers are not my thing, but it doesn't make sense to me. Why they do it that way, how they do it that way blows my mind. But when it gets to playoff time, none of that matters. There is no hit or effect to your salary cap, so you can put somebody on injured reserve or whatever and bring somebody else off of it without affecting your salary cap. So it's more than likely that you would see Carl Grundstrom come back to the team during the playoffs when it doesn't affect your salary cap and there's no hit, or you have to figure out how to make room to get him on. So, but with him coming back, I would expect Alex Turcotte to be sent to back to Ontario or maybe even just as a healthy scratch to bring him back in case there is an injury. That's the only place I could see him fitting. I mean, I don't know if you take Trevor Lewis out. Trevor Lewis is not a huge goal scorer or points guy, but he does a lot of the dirty things well. He's been playing much, much better the last month or so. He's been playing very good with Blake Lizotte and stuff like that. So, I'm not sure what you do there. I don't see anybody else you can take out of the lineup offensively besides Turcotte. And with him just coming back, it's like, do you really want to take him out? I'm not sure. So that's the only place I could see him going is Turcotte. And but we'll see what happens. It's going to be good to have Gunderson back. He's an important part to our team. And he was having a pretty decent season up until he got injured. To be honest, I didn't think he was going to come back this season at all, but it seems like he's primed and ready. And the Ontario Reign, the Kings' minor league affiliate, they're currently in the playoffs, and I guess they have another couple games yet. Then they're in the playoffs. They clinch a playoff spot, and I'm hoping. I live in basically eastern central Pennsylvania. I'm hoping that they make it all the way to the final, and the Hershey Bears make it all the way to the final. So when they play in Hershey, I can go to the Hershey Bears and watch the Ontario Reign. I think that'd be pretty cool. Because the Reign have a really, really good team. We've seen some of those guys up. Brand Clark, guys like that. So it's gonna be a lot of fun. So with the recall, that's one thing I want to say. Also, with the recall of Turcotte off the injured list, the Kings sent Akil Thomas back down to Ontario. That's a win for Ontario, getting Akil Thomas back, who was lights out for them. But Akil Thomas with the Kings, he played really, really good. I think it was 6 or 7 games. I think he had 3 or 4 points, and he was playing really good hockey. So it's really exciting to kind of look ahead a little bit to next season. Because especially if the Kings are out in the first round, there's going to be a lot of changes. You figure the coaching change, probably maybe even a GM change with Rob Blake. At least that's what a lot of the experts are saying. If the Kings are one and done or don't have a good showing at all, swept out or whatever, that you would expect Rob Blake to get fired. So you're expecting big changes next season. And I don't know who's going to be unrestricted free agents or not. But we have a lot of young talent that are prime and ready to come up. So it's going to be a lot of fun to see who does come up and the team gets younger, like Quentin Byfield, Jordan Spence, some young guys like that, leading the charge, leading the way to the next wave of LA Kings, like a Kopitar and Doughty type. So it's Alex Laferriere is one of those guys too. That's super young, played the whole season. So the future is exciting for the Kings. And so hopefully we do have a good run in the playoffs. We don't have to worry about Blake getting fired or, figuring out what they're going to do with Jim Hiller, if they're going to, sign him to be the coach or, remove that interim tag or whatever you want to call it, or if they go out looking for another coach after the season. Regardless, I don't know. So that pretty much does it for me with LA Kings talk. So real quick, I'll do the lines anyway. So for tonight, your first line should be Byfield, Kopitar, and Kempe. Your second line, Trevor Moore, Philip Denault, and Victor Arvidsson. Third line, Kevin Fiala, Blake Lizotte, Trevor Lewis. And your fourth line, Alex Laferriere, Pierre-Luc Dubois, and Alex Turcotte. I'd expect your fourth line to get a lot more playing time tonight. You normally in a hockey game, your fourth line probably gets the least amount of playing time. Earlier in the season, the Kings were really playing very, very well, looking like probably one of the best teams in the league. All the lines were pretty much getting pretty close to equal playing time. But as the season moved on, you can see that fourth line, the time on ice dropping as the Kings were being pushed more. And we had that January where it was just absolutely awful. And so you didn't see the fourth line a whole lot at all. So it's team plays well, all lines play equal. Team doesn't play well, fourth line is MIA. So that's the nature of the beast there. All right, so I'm going to go ahead and do a couple sponsor reads here real quick. A couple sponsor reads before I hit the road here. There we go, Big Al. Big Al, Jason Fine, J Fine Law. You can reach Big Al at 1-800-HURT-123. That's 1-800-HURT-123. Jason Fine. He specializes in motor vehicle accidents, slip and fall, workman's comp, and personal injury claims. He has 3 office locations conveniently located throughout Pennsylvania and New Jersey. In Cherry Hill, New Jersey, the office is located at 3 Greensward Lane. The phone number there is 856-209-5258. And in the steel city of Pittsburgh, Pennsylvania, where the Penguins roam, the offices are located at 500 Grant Street, Suite 2900. And the phone number there is 412-365-8151 if you're calling the Igloo. In Philadelphia, Pennsylvania, the offices are located 1628 JFK Boulevard, Suite 2120. And the phone number there is 267-888-2980. Then head on over to Monkey Cold Coffee for all your gourmet coffee needs. They have bourbon chocolate chip infused coffee, toasted coconut rum. They have a Sumatran blend, medium roast coffee. They also have an organic blend, Perula, Florida, and their newest flavor, Golden Honey Agave. All those flavors, fantastic. The only one I haven't tried yet is the Perula, Florida. I get nervous with the word organic. I don't know why. Whenever I see like organic fruit or whatever it says organic, I go away from it because I don't know. I don't understand it. Anyway, that's my deal. That's not your deal. They're also selling barrel-aged honey at monkeycoldcoffee.com. And be sure to check out that swag shop. They got T-shirts, coffee mugs, tumbler cups, cold brew pitcher set, which is fantastic if you like your iced coffee or cold brewed coffee. They also have K-Cup adapters for all you K-Cuppers out there so you can have some Monkey Cold coffee. And don't forget that sweet-ass Paradise Rum Cake at monkeycoldcoffee.com. And be sure to use that promo code OOTB Sports for 10% off your order. That promo code, once again, is OOTB Sports for 10% off your order at monkeycoldcoffee.com. So before I go, I got a quick shout-out here. Since you are now watching Out of the Box Sports Weekly Football Talk, today the boys jump to the NFC East, talking free agent signings, NFL draft needs, and roster look. Eagles, Giants, Commanders, Cowboys, that is tonight. So be sure to tune in tonight, 6 p.m. to NFL weekly NFL talking NFC East. Good stuff there. I got a couple more comments. Let me get that off the screen here real quick. There we go. I'm clicking away. Here we go. Hey, Sully, what's up, Sully? You can check Joe Sullivan out on Mondays, the Sully Squad, and Tuesdays, Extra Innings, talking all MLB baseball with Cowboy Dave. He says, yo, Ken, what up? What up, Joe? How you doing, buddy? And he also says, what do you think of Penix at quarterback? So tomorrow I'll be doing my Raiders talk at 10 a.m., but so I like Penix. I do like Penix. The injury history makes me nervous. 2 torn ACLs. That makes you nervous. I think he had a shoulder injury as well at Indiana. But he used to be a running quarterback. He goes to Washington, becomes more of a pocket passer. My mouth is getting dry here. Got a sip of iced tea for the working man. More of a pocket passer. He's very accurate. Great deep ball from all the experts. That's what they've been saying. Terrific deep ball. At 13, though, I'm not sure. I have a lot of the experts saying that you're looking late first round, maybe early second round for Penix, and maybe even Bo Nix. So, I talked about this last week. I can't see the Raiders being able to trade up top 3, for Jaden Daniels. That's who they want. That's their guy that they want, Jaden Daniels. I just can't envision the Bears, Commanders, or Patriots trading out of those spots with those quarterbacks available. These are supposed to be franchise type quarterbacks. Could be franchise changing for the next 10 to 15 years. Why would you trade out of that spot then? Even if it is for 3 first round picks, if you think this guy can get you, to at the very least, respectability, but to the next step, playoffs, conference championships, maybe even the Super Bowl, why would you trade that spot away, even if it's for 3 first-round picks, for a treasure trove of picks that may flop? It's hard. So I just can't see the Raiders getting up in the top 3. But then, I've been hearing more recently about the Raiders and J.J. McCarthy. I'm not sure about that. I don't know a whole lot about J.J. McCarthy. I don't watch a whole lot of college football to begin with. Usually my Saturdays are full at sporting events, and I might watch a little bit of West Coast college football before I go to bed or before I go to work, but that's about it. But J.J. McCarthy, he's been getting more traction, and Raider fans are hating it, because what has he done? He hasn't done anything. He's a game manager, blah blah blah. He won. His team won a national championship. He's the winner. When it was crunch time, he got the job done. It's tenacity, stuff like that. That's important stuff. So I don't know. But if they're going to go after J.J. McCarthy, they don't have to trade up as far as they would if they had to go after Jaden Daniels. But then you look at Michael Penix. Do the Raiders take an offensive lineman, a cornerback at 13, and maybe try to trade into the top or to the back half of the first round, or even try to trade up a little bit at the beginning of the second round and try to get, if Penix falls to the second round, which some people say there's a chance that he might, which I don't think he will. I think he and Bo Nix will be gone in the first round. And maybe Bo Nix have seemed like people might have cooled on a little bit, so maybe he does drop. But if Penix does drop to the second round, to the second day, I absolutely could see the Raiders trading up in the second round to go get him. But me personally, tomorrow when I do my mock draft, well, I'll say it again. But me personally, I think the Raiders should take an offensive tackle or the cornerback at 13. I'll say who I think tomorrow. But if they're not going to go up and get Jaden Daniels at 2 or 3, I think that they should go offensive tackle or cornerback and hope that maybe Penix falls. And if he does fall, try to trade back into the first or trade up in the second and try to get him then. If you don't get him, you don't get him. I have no hate for Gardner Minshew. I seen him play a couple times this season. I played against the Raiders. He looked decent. He looked good enough, if you ask me. Aiden O'Connell got much better throughout the last half of the season there. As he got more starts under his belt. Now he has a full off season. Who knows, right? Who knows? So it's going to be interesting. I'm actually kind of excited for this draft to see where the Raiders go. I know usually I dread the draft with the Raiders because usually they reach for somebody, but this new coaching staff, new GM, it's like it's kind of reinvigorated. They seem down to earth. Sully says, sorry, I was late to the party. No, that's all right, buddy. No problem. Yeah, I'm splitting the shows now. Silver and Black Lair. Kings one day, Raiders another day. Try that out and see how it goes. So far, it's going well, so I'm probably going to continue with it. And Eileen says, hey, girl. Hey, girl. I think she's talking to the fantasy football girl. That's who I believe she's talking. I don't think she's calling me girl. She could be. I don't know. Paul says, Ken, I have to admit, I'm still pissed about your damn Mets sweeping the Pirates. Hard to media talk about the Pirates when they lose. Mr. Baffry, the Batcave. Yes. Well, it's the Pirates, very good team. They started off, very good this season. But the Mets are hot right now. And I don't know what clicked with them. Timely hits, the pitching staff, the starting pitchers settling down a little bit. That first week against the Brewers, couldn't get anybody out. It seemed like the starting pitchers. Bullpen has been fantastic from start to finish so far. But we're only, 18 games in. The Mets go to the West Coast, play the Dodgers starting Friday. So we'll see what happens then. We'll see what the Dodgers do to them. And with that lineup, I'm not too worried about the Dodgers pitching staff. I'm more worried about their offensive output. But yeah, I was definitely surprised that the Kings were able to sweep the Pirates. And I said on the show yesterday, you look at the Kings or the Mets have 4 straight series wins now. They beat I think it was the Reds. They got the series win there. Then the Braves, top of the division. Then they got the series win against who was the Royals. The 5, 6, 7 games over 500. I think they're second. I think they're right behind Cleveland, the Cleveland Indians. They're in the Central in the American League. Got that series win, and then they sweep the Pirates, who are winning record, a very good record. I don't know where they sit in the standings. I don't think they were 1, but they might have been 2 or 3 in a pretty decent, a pretty decent Central division in the NL. So yeah, be sure to check out the Batcave on Wednesdays, 10 a.m., where I talk Mets. And so far, so good. I'll take this. I predicted the Mets between 80 and 85 wins. In the hunt for a wild card, but I don't think they'll get a wild card. There's some really, really good teams out there, especially in the Central and the West. Sully says, Chiefs wouldn't trade Mahomes for 10 first, so I agree with you, Ken. If you like a quarterback early, you take him. And absolutely, that's like, so we can say like so much, Mark Davis gave the Raiders, permission to do whatever it takes to go up and get their quarterback as long as it makes sense. But that doesn't mean that the team up at 2 or 3 is going to trade that. So, but like every year there's something goofy that happens. Who knows? Like, for some reason, maybe the Redskins don't like Jaden Daniels. They don't like him, and they figure, let's take Drake May. And you get to New England, who wanted Drake May. They don't like Jaden Daniels either. Well, they said, well, all right, we're going to take Marvin Harrison Jr. or something like that. Well, now all of a sudden you have Jaden Daniels starting to fall a little bit to teams that don't need quarterbacks. So now those teams are going to get all sorts of calls, saying, hey, what do you want for this pick? And you look at the Minnesota Vikings, they're going to be looking for a quarterback. They have 2 first-round picks. So you expect them to be kind of players this year, moving up with those two first-round picks and maybe another one or 2 more ones after that. But it's going to be interesting if one of those quarterbacks do fall out of the top 3, what happens then? Because then if Jaden Daniels does fall out of the top 3 for some reason, then I can see the Raiders being players in the trade-up game. But I don't expect him to fall out of the top 3, and I don't expect the Raiders to be able to trade up and get him. Speaking of the NFL Live first-round draft show, next Thursday night starting at 7:30 p.m., we'll have a couple different guys on. I will be on. Not sure what time, because my daughter does have softball practice until 7:30, so I will be late to the show, but I will be on for a little bit before I go to work. We did it last season. It was a lot of fun. So that's all I have for today. Thank you, everybody, for checking the show out. Thank you for commenting. And like I said, all you people on Twitter, X, who watch the show through there, you can now comment. So double click the live stream and comment away. Right now we're set at 58 live viewers, and almost all of them are through X. So I think all of them except for, it looks like 2. So that's good stuff. Thank you for checking the show out. Thank you for liking, following, commenting. Be sure to check out all of our shows here on Out of the Box Sports, and be sure to like, follow, subscribe on all social media, especially X and YouTube, and check all of our awesome shows out. And we got new stuff on the horizon, constantly evolving here at Out of the Box Sports. So stay tuned. All right, that's all I got for today. I'll see you guys tomorrow morning, 10 a.m., Silver and Black Lair, Raiders edition. So I'll talk to you later. Go Kings, go!